Welcome in, y'all. Blaze, welcome in. Nightman, hello, hello. Twitter RA, hello, hello, hello. Dude, Danny Phantom, thank you so much for coming over from TikTok. I super appreciate it. That fucking rules, dude. Jammer, welcome in. Cylons in Australia, great to see you again. The Dabbling Warlock, hello, hello, hello. In fact, I'm taking a small break from working on an RPG book, and this book is by somebody who previously worked with TLG. He sends greetings also. Share more. Say more. What kind of book? Which person? I really never used Twitch, but I just got into VTT on Fantasy Grounds and was just here for some live gameplay and found myself here. Dude, you've come to the right place. Tomorrow, we don't use a VTT, but we do have an actual play tomorrow. It's my first game of Castles and Crusades that I've ever really run as far as like a campaign goes. I ran like a shitty battle royale one shot for Steve's birthday. But this is my first like real game. Dude, Zombie King, thank you so much for coming on over from TikTok. I super appreciate it. Trollord community, I am also live on my personal TikTok page, so hopefully we get some extra like visitors. Fingers crossed. It makes me so happy to like see new people over here. So like all of you that have come over from TikTok, thank you so much. David North Art, figured I'd listen in while working on one of my pieces. Dude, David, that's awesome. Thank you so much. It's great to see you again. I hope you've been well. Quell Drama, hello. Good to see you again as well. Not a whole lot going on for me, puffing on that old Toby and getting ready for CNC. Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome. Do you have a game? Or I see that you spelled it CNC. Like, what are we talking about here? But dude, if you've got a Castles and Crusades game going, that fucking rules. And tell me all about it. And if it's the other kind of CNC, then minimal details, please. Doing good, just caught up on some games, debating on if I should start writing or read through some stuff on noble titles. Ooh. Reading is an important part of the writing process. It's true. Savage, welcome in. Had fun chatting with the trolls at Page. Dude, I wish I'd been able to go. Oh, I wish I could have gone. Mackenzie's here. Sorry, be cool. No, be cool. Do you want to say hi to Mackenzie? Mackenzie, hi. It's so great to see you. Oh my god. You just made my whole night by showing up. Hi. Hey. Mackenzie's our friend.
What's up?
Sup. Ooh, starting next Monday, I'll be writing a CNC game I'm adding some of the old school Spell Plague stuff to. That fucking rocks.
Spell Plague.
I'm swearing a lot today. I don't usually swear this much.
Potty mouth over here.
Extra potty. Hold the mouth. Am I right? You and your writing rock more. Danny, thank you. Oh my gosh. I find myself going back to Quiet Kid often for a little great poetry. Dude, thank you. That actually blows my mind. Really incomprehensible to think about the fact that there's a book out there that has my name on it and that people perceive it.
Not only that, but they go back to it for fun and enjoyment.
It's crazy. It actually like breaks my brain. So thank you. I super appreciate that. Look forward to your camping. Our camping? Wait.
Camping? Maybe they mean campaign.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Thank you. I'm excited too.
We should go camping though.
Want to go camping?
Maybe when it's not negative.
All right, guys.
All right,
that's it for stream. We're going to go camping.
Yeah, we're actually just going to go freeze to death real quick.
See ya. I want to squish both of you. Not if we squish you first. Just get here.
Get squished.
Get squished. Get loved, nerd. Saltwater. Hello. How's it going? Ooh, I was being mysterious because I didn't know whether I should mention other games or publishers. Oh, please. No, we love other games and publishers. We are not precious about that sort of thing.
Everybody's friends.
Yeah. It's awesome to like to figure out what other publishers are doing and like what like I don't know, games that people like. We've been playing like Wander Home and 10 Candles.
Oh,
dude, 10
bangers.
Candles. If you have not played 10 Candles,
It's really good.
it's a banger.
Get a group together. We did it like one-on-one, which
Yeah.
is good fun, but it's kind of more like geared towards like a whole like crew.
You want like a party instead of like 2 people. Roval? Oh my god, wait. How long has it been? Dude, it's great to see you again. Had D&D recently, but time zones are a pain. Early morning and almost midnight for each session. Dude, I want to play early morning to almost midnight. That sounds awesome.
I would just like to play in the morning.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, like wake up in the morning and play.
Yeah. That's what we used to do in like the back when days. Get
I never
together,
had
like,
the back when days.
Sunday mornings.
That sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
I only started playing when I was like 23, 22, 23. Not enough time.
I mean, come on, that's pretty young.
Yeah, but I didn't.
You've got some good like mileage under your belt.
Well, thanks.
You can
I
learn it
mean,
out there.
it's been a good amount of years, but I wish I could have had the experience of being a kid playing,
Sure,
you know?
Totally.
Also recently bought the 9th printing of the CNC Player's Handbook. That's what we love to hear. The 10th printing just came out. Bad news for you.
Oh, you could have held off on that. That was kind of like a
It's fine. They're different
stab
books.
and twist.
I mean, really, they're so different. The biggest thing is like the OGL.
Yeah.
All the OGL stuff was taken out, so you'll have a different experience with the 9th printing. And the 9th printing is great. It's beautiful.
It is great. I think that's the one that we have.
Yeah.
It's good.
100% on reading being part of the writing process. I'm so behind on chat. I'm sorry. Learning about how medieval hunts actually work lead to a change in the story. One character went from being hired to being the hunt master for the local lord. I love it when shit like that happens. Because, like, to be a writer, and especially, like, a fantasy writer, you can't just be a writer. It's not enough to just be a good writer. You kind of have to know a little bit of, like, what you're talking about in regards to, like, fantasy daily life stuff.
Sure, yeah.
And, like, the amount that you have to know, I mean, that'll, like, change depending on what you're writing.
I think that's flexible, yeah.
But, like, really great writers, I feel like, do, you know, some research and, like...
Well, it helps it feel grounded.
Yeah, exactly. Paige was awesome. Got to game with Steve and Jason and had a great chat with all the trolls. Dude, I'm so happy for you.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds awesome. I heard Jason was running some Amazing Adventures, and Chuck was running Castles and Crusades. I don't know if Steve was running any games, but I know that he was there. It seemed like an awesome con. Staying warm up there. We got a couple of inches of lake effect south of Lansing. We've got a little dusting right now, but...
Super cold, though.
It's super cold. It's freezing. It's frigid. Anyone know where the artwork is from? That's there fleshing in the upper corner. Yeah, so that is the artwork of Zoe DeVos. Zoe is one of our artists on staff. They fucking rock. They're so talented. Zoe's one of the most talented fucking artists ever. And the art that you see here primarily features 2 particular characters named Yurik and Ava. And they are the protagonists of a series of kind of like short fiction called The Waters of Dunhollow, which Steve wrote in 3 parts. Adrian! It's great to see you. It's so good to see you. Thanks for hanging out. Anyway, sorry. I had to visit TikTok for a second. One of my friends popped in. But The Waters of Dunhollow is like they're 3 books, and they each contain like a section of short stories. And yeah, it features Ava and Yurik Gunshoff, and they have adventures together, and I think they're gonna fall in love.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Hey, Sweeper, welcome in. A little research goes a long way. Exactly. Hey, Brad, dude, welcome back for a year.
Whoa.
Did you watch Nick's movie? We haven't yet.
Oh, no, we didn't.
The one with Yul Brenner. Crying Orange, thanks for hanging out from YouTube. This chat exploded. Thank you, Twitter. I appreciate you. Too many Hollywood writers don't know what they're talking about, in my opinion. Agreed that great writers need to have an interest in a wide range of subjects. Yeah, or just, like, fucking knock it out of the park on the writing side, because Stan Lee didn't know a fucking thing. Did not know a damn
Stan
thing.
Lee.
Yeah, Stan
Of
Lee.
Spider-Man fame.
Spider-Man, Flash.
Sure, yeah.
All the Marvel stuff. Yeah. The gamma rays.
Oh, yeah. I
The
see what you
gamma
mean.
rays.
Yeah.
Oh no. Barry Allen or whoever the Flash is, he knocks over a shelf containing every chemical known to man. Dude, Crying Orange, thanks for hanging out. Welcome in. I see that you came over from YouTube. I super appreciate you coming over. How's it going? What are we doing today? We are going to be doing a fiction reading, a little fantasy fiction reading. I swear to God, half of these like reading streams, I spend like the first half of it just talking to chat.
Yeah, actually, to that end, I should.
Yeah, it's
extricate
good to have
myself.
you here. Everyone say bye, Knock. Hey, whoa. You just like
I gotta do homework.
phase pulsed me. Crazy. Someone call somebody.
Careful.
Grace ships every character. I do. I have a problem. I just love love. Come on. 24 months. Oh my God. 2 years. Fuck. Why did I think? Oh my God, dude. I am not with it ever. Thank you for having like patience with me. I appreciate you, and thanks for the sub. It really goes a long way to help our channel, and we never expect people to sub. So thank you for doing it. We really appreciate it. Excited to hop into the stream. Really liking Troller Games tabletop content. Really liked your energy in the YouTube video, dude. Thank you. I super appreciate that. I work really hard on those, so like thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. We can forgive Stan Lee. He didn't have the internet. Good point. It's a very good point. That's kind of something that makes so like just a thought that pops into my brain is like, because right now we're going through and publishing a lot of Gary Gygax's works. He also did not have the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just was standing there off camera, like just barely in my sight. Anyway.
Well, I was gonna like potentially engage with what was being said, but then my brain stopped working. So.
Welcome to my life. Am I right?
Am I right, gamers?
Am I right, gamers? Can't blame the Flash on Stan. He's a DC character. Oh my God, that's right. Who wrote the Flash? The Flash original author. Gardner Fox. All right, damn. Fair. It's all Grace. We love you anyway. Dude, thank you. Man, today is the day of like swearing and saying dude. We're on theme today. Mock him if you like, but good old Stan was a firm believer in never letting the facts get in the way of a good story. And I mean, don't we all have that responsibility? If you don't have something interesting to say, just lie. For fun and profit. One of the reasons I'm writing fantasy and not science fiction. Yeah, because then you can make the science. Yeah. Have you been keeping up with the news about the 2024 Monster Manual? No, I haven't. So, no joke, my brain has been so fried with CNC stuff that I have no idea what's happening. I don't know what is going on in any other like RPG. I've got like a couple of games that like me and Nick like play here in the apartment, but I haven't been keeping up with any news. What's new? What's going on with the 2024 Monster Manual? I know that the new player's handbook caused a stir, but I haven't looked through it myself. Is it something besides the mucking up of the mythology behind the monsters? Ooh. Shots fired. My friend made me some nice smelling candles. The house smells so good. Dude, I would fucking kill a man for some nice smelling candles right now. I almost got some. I went to the grocery store before I did this stream. And It was this close to getting a nice smelling candle. They're so expensive. They're slashing a lot of lore, unfortunately. The book seems to be quite sparse on it. I have mixed feelings about that. Wait, where are you live besides TikTok? We're live on twitch.tv/trolllordgames. I super appreciate you asking. Come hang out if you'd like. We're live on TikTok too. Oh yeah, what I was saying. So, when thoughts in my brain, slashing lore on mythological creatures for the purpose of putting them into a tabletop RPG. Hey, Jordan and Practical Book Magic, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. It's great to have you. I don't know. I think that can be fine. Just take like a cool monster and like separate it entirely from, you know, all earthly kind of attachments. I don't know. Nick like snickered as he walked by.
Namaste.
Well, I don't know. Like separate it from its earthly context rather. And I don't know, just like give it your own. I think that's cool. I love Nick is writing his original fantasy setting right now and has been like coming up with the lore for the different fantasy races and separating those entirely from any kind of like historical sort of context. And it's been awesome. It's been so cool. It makes me so excited to like explore a fantasy adventure as a character of one of those races, just to like see what's new, you know. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw your thoughts from dude, thank you so much for coming on over. I am actually just like this. So welcome in. I'm half scrambled and half empty, but by God, we're doing it. I'm buying the 5.5 books out of a sense of duty, but that's not what we're playing here. I totally feel that. It's nice to collect things. It's fun to just like have the books, you know? A lot of people do that with TLG's stuff, and it's awesome. We love it. There seems a huge focus has been on giving artwork more space, which isn't what I'm personally looking for as a DM. That is super, super fair. I haven't really thought about it. But like, I guess different DMs do find inspiration from different types of books, like more art heavy versus more word count heavy. Rick, hi. When you come to Lansing, literally ASAP. I want to stop in and see your new place. How have you been? It's great to see you. Sorry, we're friends on TikTok. You guys need to follow Hoplite Games Lansing on TikTok, by the way, if you don't already. I need that sweet lore and ritual so that I can make up my own with a reference point. In my opinion, I like when they at least give one take of how things work. Then at the very least, as the DM, I have a reference point to springboard off of. Exactly. Just like a little spark of something. I have a hard time doing that with art, for sure. I find it way easier to do with like nuggets of like just a passage, you know, even if it's, you know, not like stats or anything, but just like a passage of words. I don't know if it's like my brain or what, but I have a harder time like seeing a piece of art and doing my own thing with that. But surely that's not everyone, right? I follow you on your solo channel. I didn't know you had another. Dude, yeah. So I've been here for about a year. I got hired by Trollord Games to be their social media manager in January of last year. And since then, I've kind of been all over the place. I stream on 3 different Twitch channels, actually. It's been a while since we've been live on Crane Rights, but yeah, this and then Hearth Coven Games is where we mostly do stuff. So where am I sending candles, and what's Knox's favorite smell? Oh man, you're sweet. When I get a PO box, I'll share it. But what's your favorite smell,
From a candle?
or just in general? Don't say come. Just don't say it. You're just not allowed to say it.
Come.
Damn it. You can't say that.
I mean, I think for candles, it's like pretty easily like fir tree candles. Oh, I don't know, like any sort of like tree or like foresty, like fir tree, cedar, like sometimes those like campfire like smoke candles are really good.
Yeah. Wood, smoke, fir.
Specify like a fir tree, not just like fur.
Fur. Just
No,
a whiff of fur. We all love a whiff of fur in the morning.
It can't be just fur. You have to like.
As an illustrator, that brings me joy. Yes. What is that like? Do you find, David, that like really art heavy tabletop RPG resource books inspire you more than ones that are really text heavy? So anyways, D&D, I've yet to play any of the new subclasses yet. Don't really have a group. That's like ain't that the shit, you know? We don't really have a in-person group out here either. Yet. One thing I think is super egregious is the actual removal of things they published prior. You can no longer officially purchase Volo's Guide to Monsters because they shoved the monsters in there into multiverse. But a lot of lore, for example, how to cure Mind Flayer thralls, is officially non-canon, since you literally cannot buy Volos officially. You have to buy Multiverse, which does not have that lore in it. That is a bummer when stuff gets like excluded and like cut out. How do you guys feel about like things being canon in general? I feel like Castles and Crusades has radicalized me. Prior to that, I had not really played anything aside from Dungeons and Dragons, and with like the WotC Hasbro kind of writing, you follow the rules to the letter, you know? The words of the rules contain in its entirety, it's like legal text. Everything that you can and cannot do is like outlined there. And if it doesn't say that you can do it, then you can't do it. And there are like exceptions, but like that's mostly how the game is played. Like you just play what's written down. And Castles and Crusades has like imaginative rules. So like everything that you read is like a prompt. Which is a very, 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 very different way to play. It took me a few tries and a few games to like get it. But now, like, the answer to every question in gaming to me is like, what's cool? What's the cool thing to do? That's what we'll do. It's canon if I say it's canon. Exactly. I find inspiration in both, mostly using the text to get the personality of a creature, and then the artwork as a base to the visual. Oh, okay, as a base to the visuals. I can either use the look that's there or change it up a bit for my players. That's cool. Man, I know that, like, every artist that I've ever met has said that, like, anyone can do art. And so I don't want to say, like, oh, man, I wish I could do art. Because I know that, like, if I put in the time, like, we can all learn how to, like, do art really well. But I have not devoted any time to that at all. And so I'm at, like, a 0 level skill. And that's a really daunting place to start from, just as it is with, like, anything. If you know, if you're a human and you're invested in being good at things. So I wish that I was at a different stage in my artist journey than fucking Cashew McDubbins, which if you were here last week, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, you'll get that reference. As far as if the art or text inspires me more, I'd have to say text. Art can inspire me, but I find that text tends to spark more ideas. That's kind of how I am too. The approach of just not having it in there and offloading all the work to me is a real bummer. Yeah, that totally tracks and makes a lot of sense. Hey, Flame Singer, welcome in. I've had the good fortune of finding people as insane as I am at a regular 12-hour game every Saturday. What the fuck? That sounds awesome. You drew an excellent portrait last Monday. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm just, a humble artist who just isn't appreciated in their lifetime. But maybe the next, the next generation will look to my art and hopefully be inspired. Ooh, you can do art. I do some draw along streams to show people they can do it. Hang on, I'm gonna just really quick follow you. Hell yeah, that's awesome. I'll keep an eye out for those. If you want to learn how to draw, I've got a lot of resources that can help. Yes, please. Yes, please. If you're a part of the TLG Discord, if you post some stuff and tag me in it, that would be awesome. I super, super appreciate it. Are you a forever DM or a player? So man, I think actually, like, reflecting now for the first time, I've been like a GM in like a greater capacity than I am a player for the last like couple of years. I had a 5e game that I ran for like 2-ish years. And right now I've got a Castles and Crusades game going on. Well, you know what? Actually, I think I'm very lucky. I've got like a healthy mix right now in my life. I'm a player in a Cyberpunk Red actual play. And then I'm working with some other creators and recording another Castles and Crusades actual play in which I'm a player. And then I have the game that I'm running right now. And that's it for right now. So, I don't know. For a while, I was like a just game master, but I think we've achieved nirvana a little bit. We got there. Feels awesome to be doing both. You don't have to be crazy. We'll train you. Really? You'll train me? You'll take me under your wing? Will you show me the right like forms and stuff and then like slap me with a ruler if I like lose form? I wish I could draw paint like Frank Frazetta. Who's Frank Frazetta? Ooh, okay. Yeah, I see his art all the time. I just didn't know who it was. Frank Frazetta's art is a lot of TLG's Twitter, actually. A lot of their Twitter feed is this. Hey, Stronghold! Tim, how's it going? It's great to see you. How have you been? And my wife plays with me for 12 hours every week. That is the dream. That is the dream. Nick just pointed at me. That's our future. I'm stuck as a forever DM. The worst part is because my wife is in my game and I can't talk to her about anything D&D because it's all spoilers. Oh my god, I know how that feels. I hated that when I was running my really long 2-year game. I couldn't talk to anybody about anything because all of my friends are like the D&D group. I haven't gotten to be a player in years. I'm manifesting it for you. Boboso, dude, welcome in. Thank you so much for the sub. Welcome back from month 7, my friend. How are you? Seb McKinnon. I wish I could draw like Seb McKinnon. Zombie King, welcome in. Let me look it up. Seb McKinnon. Ooh. Damn. This is really cool. Do I have like an easy way to just show you guys what I'm looking at? I don't think I do. But maybe I do. Hang on. Hey, okay. Yeah. Well, we're sort of... This is the stream. This is what I used for, the chat plays game last week. This is sick. That rocks. That is so cool. But anyway. Oop. I scronked everything. Damn, Chaos. Thank you so much for the sub. Holy shit. I didn't even see it happen. Thank you so much. All y'all that are hanging out, thank you for the subs and everything. We do not expect Twitch to be like a moneymaker for us, but when people do subscribe or like gift stuff or anything like that, it enables us to do like a lot more here with this channel because we can pay for the time spent on it. So thank you so much. I just want you to know how much that's appreciated. Thank you. Really, really appreciate it. I have had a plot twist brewing for a year and I can't tell my wife. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for you. I've been dogpiled. I cannot move. Rest in peace. Rest in pasta. Rest in puppy. Rest in puppy. See, I don't know how I'd fared GMing, though I did have an idea, rough draft for a story set in the world of Castlevania. First of all, write that story. Second of all, just give it a try. I can't tell you like how scared I was to start. I was so scared to start. And I have been every single time since that I've like started a game. I've talked about this before. I'm so like just like so socially anxious, you know? And like it's tough to like battle that and then be like a storyteller for like this group of really cool people, ideally your friends, you know? And it like hasn't gotten less scary. But it's also like some of the most rewarding shit ever to see people like care about the game that you've put together and see them like interacting with it. If you set up a mystery, to see them like working hard to solve it. It really like it's strengthening, I would call it. I think it's good for us. It's good for people to do that. Not just to like play, but to facilitate. I found it really healthy, I think, and have continued to find it healthy. I need to read my AA books, as I do want to run some one-shots at least when I get some home time. The new Amazing Adventures books, they're so cool. They're so cool. They're so cool. And just like the system is so awesome. Amazing Adventures fucking rocks. If you haven't played it yet, anyone watching, you should definitely play Amazing Adventures. The classes by themselves just delight me. It is such a cool game. I know that Jason ran some at Page. If he's at GaryCon or if he's at like any other cons coming up, maybe he'll run some more. But it's definitely worthwhile, and definitely check out the books if you hadn't already. Since I moved 5 months ago and haven't met too many people yet, I'm just pretending to GM in my brain, make characters, run through the plot and campaign. Well, first of all, 30-6, welcome in. Second of all, that's a mood. That is such a mood. It's fun to imagine. I have a friend who claims he wants to DM, and he's been world building for literally 6 to 8 years. And when I ask him if he wants to DM, he still tells me he's world building. I mean, world building is its own hobby, I think. And if the thought of like, well, one of these days I'm gonna run a game in this setting, like, if that's what motivates you to like keep the project alive and keep world building, whatever, that's awesome. I like how the stream turned from live fiction reading to just chatting. Dude, this happens every time. Okay, I'm gonna call it at 8:40. We're gonna do at least 20 minutes of reading. I swear. I guess when you are an eldered person whose fears are a little less, more of the knowledge of the new tech, we oldies can't grasp fast enough my personal DMing troubles. Yeah. I mean, hell, I'm supposed to be like with it, and brother, I'm not with it. I don't know anything about anything. I'm my own best friend. That's a good way to be, though. And that can always be true. That is a friendship that you should have for life. Imagination is absolutely essential, so keep that. That's really the best thing. And honestly, like, my worst periods of writing, where I wrote the least and was the least happy with anything that I did write, it was when I was like shutting myself in, trying to just write. Because like the most important part of the writing process, and this is my opinion, but I also think it's true, the most important part of the writing process is going out and fucking being alive and living and having experiences and seeing shit and seeing new shit and exposing yourself to like new things. I'm in my writing slump right now too. Feels bad, man. Dude, go out, get outside, go do things, talk to somebody, talk to a new person. Hey, I'm a new person. Hey. But like, yeah, go do something until you're inspired again. Hey, Johnny, welcome in. How's it going? It's good to see you. That's why I'm now trying to engage more with tabletop content. Well, hey, if you're new here, I don't know if you've been to this channel before, but we've got a weekly schedule. We're live for 4 days out of 5 during the week. It's Monday through Thursday, and we talk all about fantasy writing and tabletop gaming content. We're publishing a bunch of Gary Gygax stuff, including his Gygaxian Fantasy Worlds series, which we have renamed the World Builders Archive. It has the Guide to Adventure Writing in it. That book, like, just it changed the way that I approach writing adventures. It breaks it down in such a like digestible way and it makes it really like approachable. But yeah. May I suggest trauma? My trauma always gets the writing juices flowing. Escapism for the win. Hell yeah, man. Going out and just enduring. And being strong in the face of shit that you shouldn't have to face. We love trauma. We use it. Trauma is a tool from which we will sculpt a masterpiece. But hey, it's 8:40 Eastern. So as promised, I'm going to read a little bit. We're in the Gregorian age of fantasy writing. Yeah, we're super, super excited about it. The World Builders Archive series should be maybe this year. It's a really big project. It's already been crowdfunded. So it's all done and it's definitely coming. But we're bringing back all 7 volumes that were originally published, and then 3 more additional volumes which were written and approved and edited and everything by Gary when he was alive, but were never published. But we have them, and so we're going to publish them. And it's awesome. We're very excited about it. Before you read, there sounds like there's a tiny echo or something. Ruh-roh. It might honestly just be my room. I'm just going to get closer to the mic and tell me if the problem persists. I don't know if you'd be interested in going through it, but a friend of mine linked me an article about how fantasy goes from grimdark to noble dark and other vibes of fantasy based on the state of the world. Yeah. Hang on. If you want to join our Discord and post it and tag me in it, or just like PM it to me. Do we have a Discord command? I thought we did. Damn, we don't. That's fine. I'll just grab it real quick. And then I swear to God, we're going to read. I'm going to read after I post this link to our Discord server. I'm doing this. Paste. Wait, did that? Oh my God. Damn it. Ignore me. Oh my God, what? I did use the copy button. Oh my God, what? I did use the copy button. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry about that. I found the source of the echo. I had Twitch open. Okay. I'm going to do this link. There it is. So hey, if you're not in our Discord already, listen, you've come to the right place. This is a really awesome community, and it's full of really, really great people. And we love to talk about nerd things, and our Discord is a pretty good way to stay updated on all the stuff that we're doing. There's a Discord. Yeah, it's on Twitch. Dude, KP, welcome in. Hello, hello. I'm doing very well. We're live on twitch.tv/TrollLordGames if you want to come hang out. It's pretty awesome. Sorry, just having an aside with my folks on TikTok. But I made a promise. We're 3 minutes past the point where I said I was going to read. I'm going to read. So we have been reading through the Codex of Aihrde, which, if you haven't heard of it, it is a setting guide for Aihrde, which is the tabletop game setting that we kind of publish. It was written by Steve Chenault. And it has 12,000 years of written history. And if you go to our store, you'll notice that a lot of our products are called like title after Winter Dark. And the Winter Dark, if you're new here, refers to a period of 1,000 years in which the world of Aihrde was ruled over by an evil god called Unklar, also known as the Horned God. And yeah, he basically changed and just destroyed the world over the course of 1,000 years. And he blanketed the world in a shroud of mist, and it was called the Winter Dark. So we are kind of reading through the Winter Dark. We've read about Unklar's rise to power, the changes that he's made to the world. And I believe that now we might be reading about some resistance. Some resistance that Unklar has faced. But yeah, he tricked or overthrew the other gods, and is basically just a terrible guy. The Endenuth, exactly. Anvil, welcome in. Good to see you. One thing of note is that he took the kingdom, the great human kingdom of Al-Liosh in Aihrde, and reduced it to rubble. And out of that rubble, he built a 100-story tower, a really, really tall tower, called Aufstrag. And that is where Unklar rules from. And as we read through here, I'll offer a little bit of context in places where I think it's needed, but I think we're just going to go ahead and start. Oh, okay. Last we left, Unclar has done everything that he's wanted to do. Hey, Lucius, great to see you. How's it going? We're just about to start reading. So Unclar has done a lot of the stuff that he said he was going to do. Wrapped the world in darkness, shrouded the world in mist, banished the sun and the moon, created Aufstrag, all the stuff. So this final passage goes, as before, his tasks completed, Unclar returned to Aufstrag and slept, secure in Aufstrag's towers and halls of stone, weaker all the more for his expenditures. So he has spent himself a little bit. He's spent a pretty good deal of his power making all of these grand changes to Aihrde. So this upcoming passage is about what happens while Unclar is sleeping. Because when Uncle is away, the babies will play. The long years of winter dark. The tales relate that during these long years, the people of Aihrde offered Unclar little resistance. Though food grew in abundance, and the wealth of the people was much as it had been before, life during the winter dark was harsh. In the ordered world of Unclar's empire, men suffered the yoke. And so these words Unclar's minions carved upon the great gates of Aufstrag: suffer not the tyranny of fear, embrace the dominion of law, the yoke shall set you free. And men came to believe these words, and suffered all that Aufstrag delivered to them. Though in truth, the powers that eventually challenged Unclar's rule began to surface even in these early days of his reign. These are still the early days. The scattered remnants of Patrice's council fought on. Patrice was a great wizard who attempted to stand up to Unclar, and specifically Malazor, who is the sorcerer who summoned Unclar to Aihrde in the first place. Patrice and Malazor battled, and Patrice lost. Aristobulus, another hero, bound to a demon lord, one of the Unkbartig, suffered such torments that he lost his form and became a shade. He served his tormentor thus, bound to him with no shape or form. After many years, he stole away and hid himself ever deeper in the pits of the wretched plains, the shadow of a shade, until at last none could find him, and he made good his escape. Aristobulus wandered that realm, lost and alone, until at last he learned to bend light and could take form once more. In this way, he returned to Aihrde, to haunt the world of Unclar, and to seek power wherever he could. He found Chrysogrim the mage, wandering mindless as a beggar, tormented by the lords of winter dark, and together they sought to unravel what had come to pass. They eventually found Sagramor, their companion of old, but his tale was horrid, and he feasted on the flesh of living men, bound in chains in a cave to the north, and thus they left him. Rumors of others came to them, and they continued to seek them out, for Aristobulus brooded on war and vengeance. By the way, a lot of these names, Aristobulus, Patrice, you'll hear Daladon, these are players that were in one of the first games that was ever held in Aihrde, and the events of that game are a lot of what we see here in the Codex of Aihrde, which I think is a cool tidbit of like TLG history. The Order of the Holy Defenders of the Flame struggled on as well. Their master, his name lost to history, took the flame from its hiding place and moved it to the Tower of Hope and the ruins of Du Guesclin. None of the enemy dared to tread in that place, for the ghosts of Robert Luther and Jaron remained, more players, tormenting all to death. The knights used the flame as a signal, desiring its power to bring Luther, whom they sainted with Godhead, back from the dreaming sea. And for this, Luther is accounted the first of the Val Tolmith. In Aihrde, you'll see a variety. There's a couple different pantheons. There's the Val Erakun, which are like the named first gods. You'll hear names like Corthane, the Justicaire, Orndul, the red god, and Mordias, the goddess of nature, like the really big gods. And then there's like lesser gods underneath them. So this is like a lesser god. Anyway, a single knight always stood vigil in the snowbound ruins of the castle, in the Tower of Hope, to keep watch and to bear word when the paladin should return. This vigil they kept for 600 years, until the world realized his return. In his slumbers, Luther roamed upon the dreaming sea, restless, woken by the flame. He cast out upon the world to haunt the darkness and light it for those in need. Second, in the lands of Ursal in the Eldwood, a band of rangers and elves came together to continue the legacy of the Marcher Lords, named by some the Watchers in the Wood. This was an order dedicated to the Ethvold of Old. This is an old human kingdom, and the memory of the Og Aust. They remembered well the worship of the old gods, and too, they remembered that at the feet of the great oak in the Eldwood, their ancestors had laid the body of Daladon Lothian, the Marcher Lord of Old. The body lay amidst the mighty roots of the tree, but it did not decay, and his spirit remained entombed upon the world, held in the embrace of Mordias, and fed by the water of Tefnut. For his tomb was born of the Airtout. The Airtout is the great tree, the crown jewel of like Mordias's contributions to the world of Aihrde. They called to the Marcher Lord of Old, and bid him return to the forest and lead them in war. And so, Daladon left his tomb, and took up Black Noxmoros, his two-handed blade, once more. Daladon Lothian was accounted the second of the Val Tolmith. Sorry. The Marcher Lords fought lonely battles against hopeless odds in the dark of the world. In their struggles, the Wood Elves joined them, and the king there removed himself to the greater Darkenfold, and it became a land bound to the Eldwood, where the powers of Unklar dared not tread. Many drifted to the Darkenfold, seeking sanctuary against the tyranny of Unklar, the Darkenfold being one of the largest forested regions in Aihrde, and the setting for a lot of different adventures that we publish. Soon, the Darkenfold became a lawless place, a land of bandits and rogues, and dangerous creatures that dwelt in the deep folds of the wood. This forest, itself a remnant of the Ethvold, was a living thing. The Darkenfold was all that remained of the ancient Ethvold, and within its boughs there lingered memories of the glory of yesteryear. There lingered, too, an anger at loss, so that all that entered those woods felt the brooding presence of the forest. Many could not bear it, and could not enter. Others who did became lost in the forest's deeps. The Darkenfold also housed the greater power of the Og Aust, who, though bound by the judgment of Corthane, lingered as shadows of their former selves. Their presence emboldened the wood, and it resisted the snows and ice so that something of a semblance of the old world's seasons remained there, unconquered. Music is a little soft. Ooh. Soft as in quiet. How's that? Got that list for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think if you tried to put it in chat, I think like our auto moderator here on Twitch like deleted it. So if you want to like tag me in it on Discord or DM it to me here, go right ahead. I super appreciate you. Thank you. Of all the free peoples of the world, none suffered as the halflings. They suffered the hunt, for it became a sport for the lords of Aufstrag to track them and slay them for food or trophies. In a few short decades, their numbers dwindled. They vanished from the cities and fled to the wild. Living in tight clans, only the hardiest survived, and they became crafty, turning the tables on the lords of Aufstrag and hunting the hunters. In time, they became a fierce people, and the hunt a dangerous game only the most skilled dared to play. Norgrad Cam, alone of the realms of the world, suffered very little during the winter dark. Norgrad Cam being a dwarven stronghold underneath a mountain. Long ago, the dwarves mastered growing food in their deep halls, and even Unklar could not wholly stop the use of the rings of brass as they lay in the roots of the Airtout. Rings of brass being like teleportation portals that you can use for like planar travel. The rings of brass, I believe, were how Malazor brought Unklar to Aihrde from like the ether, I think. Maybe I'm misremembering that. Anyway. The dwarves did as they had for thousands of years, tunneling new halls, mining and crafting works of need and desire. Beyond the halls, the dwarves suffered torment. Many, dislodged from Grundlik Hole, ventured into the wild and built what houses they could. The greater part of them were hauled into the bowels of Aufstrag and made to serve the Dark Lord. I find dwarves very uncool. Listen, you've come to the place that's going to change your mind. Thus, the world thrived, or languished, depending on who one was or what one's station entailed. Unklar at last awoke from his slumbers to find the world of Aihrde blanketed in a cold, dark sheet of snow and ice. He reveled in it and called to his minions to cease their squabbles, which they had begun anew. The horned god set to order what he could, and thought what next to do. As the Allfather before him, his mind was ever restless, and he sought to create life and fashion things as he deemed the need. Which, small aside, if you're new here and haven't heard this tale before, the Allfather is like the primary god above all gods in the world of Aihrde. He is also like often referred to as Aihrde, which is great and not at all confusing when we're doing these readings. But all gods were made by the Allfather, including Unklar. The thing is, the Allfather did not make Unklar on purpose. While the Allfather was sleeping, he had a horrid nightmare. And this nightmare grew feet and walked away. And this nightmare was Unklar. One thing that a lot of the gods have in common is that they think that they know the Allfather's intentions. So Corthane, Mordius, and Orndul are a great example. Corthane called out to the Allfather, and the Allfather looked at him and looked him in his eyes. And Corthane, in that moment, in that like eye contact with the Allfather, believed that he knew exactly what the Allfather wants and what he plans for the world, and he went on his way. Orndul, outraged by his lack of purpose, took a lightning bolt, I believe, and struck the Allfather on the heel. And in wounding the Allfather, Orndul thought that he learned the Allfather's purpose, and he walked away. Mordias went and healed the Allfather's wound that Orndul had given him, and she actually did learn a little bit about what the Allfather wants in that connection, but that's a story for another day. And then there's Unklar, who saw an absolute nightmare, and was born from this nightmare, and believes it's what the Allfather wants. And so when he was brought to Aihrde by Malazor, this like ambitious sorcerer who sought to like use him for his own personal gain, not knowing that Unklar was a god and not like a monster that he could bind, Unklar looked around at Aihrde and thought to himself, well, hell, this is not at all what the Allfather wanted. This isn't anything like what I've seen. It's supposed to be horrible. Don't worry, I'll fix it. And then he said about the Winterdark. So you'll see a lot of comparisons between Unklar and the Allfather, because Unklar does have that same kind of like, the Allfather was very manic about just constantly making things. He was very much a maker, and Unklar kind of also is that way. So anyway, that aside, we'll get back to it. Unklar turned then to Aufstrag, and whoa, puppy. Sorry, my dog's barking. In the bowels of it, he carved out a forge. The size of it defied comprehension, sprawling over many levels of the tower. Rooms he hollowed to hold mountains of coal and wood. Hearths, many as large as ships, some as small as shields, he set to fire with bellows of flesh and bone, and these burned for as long as Unklar sat his throne. The largest hearth he set in a hall of pillars, and there lit the fire himself, and set his breath upon it, and thus he set it to burning, remaining so until the Gonfod, the prophesied apocalypse of everything, and the end of days. This he called the Stodteen plume, that is, the flawless fire, and he alone worked this forge, until Dolgen the dwarf came to his service. Another story for another day. Here, the Hounds of Darkness took shape, the Mogrel, and many other horrors besides, so he made monsters there. An army of slaves descended into the pit to suffer the making of armaments and devices of the horned god's desire. Many of these were dwarves, and they took up hammer, tong, chisel, and bellows reluctantly, but they served Unklar's desires. For those who did not, suffered torments and death. Many preached to not throw their lives away upon the dark, for the future is not written, even the outcome of the Gonfod. And so in darkness, they lived in compliance. Many listened, and set themselves to suffer the pains of the lash, though in truth others could not yield. And these took up arms, and took the battle to Unklar, but to no avail. For he was in the full of his powers, and no force in Aihrde could stand against him, but for Tefnut or Aelor. These are two other Valarikun major gods. But they heeded the judgment still. The judgment being that they cannot intervene. Hey, Applebee, thanks so much for popping in. Good to see you. We're live over on Twitch, but hey, great to see you. Thanks for stopping out. The forge changed the nature of Aufstrag, for it created such a wave of heat that the structure suffered damage from top to bottom. Her walls dried and cracked, and the weight of stone began to settle. So Unklar ordered the stacks constructed. He ordered walls hollowed and chimneys built from room to room, forge to forge. Some of these grew as wide as tunnels, others smaller, but all crawled their way to the surface of Aufstrag and vomited smoke and ash that soon blanketed all around. The swamps drooped into a gray darkness. The waters turned to muck and the air became acidic. Denizens of Aufstrag named these the stacks, and they became roads through Aufstrag, though dangerous roads, for sudden gouts of flame and heat flooded a stack, roasting any foolish enough to be there. Despite the danger, creatures used them to travel to and fro in the mighty tower, and others came to live in them. The forge became a place of wicked experiments, tortures, and crafting. The folk of Aufstrag named it the Klarglitch, that is, the pit of woe, for the suffering screamed of the damned filled the forge and carried through the stacks, so that all in Aufstrag came to know them. Unklar first used Klarglitch to create the Hounds of Darkness, those sulking beasts, birthed from the tortured bodies of fairykin, possessed but one purpose: to root out the elves upon whatever plane they existed. Which, by the way, the elves, kind of prophesying the coming of the Winter Dark, they pieced out. The greater part of them went through the Rings of Brass to a different realm called the Land of Seven Rivers to basically wait it out. But then Unklar locked them there so that they couldn't return. And I guess didn't know where they escaped to. He just shut the door behind them so that they couldn't come back through. Though the creatures never found the elves in the Land of Seven Rivers, many dying in the attempt, they foreboded things to come. Soon thereafter, as is recorded by the Elven Scrolls, the folk of Shindole, the Land of Seven Rivers, found an entrance to Aihrde, a tunnel torn through the roots of Airtaut that birthed in the Fartuk steppes. The princes set out the quest knights to rescue what kin of theirs they could find, for they saw no end to the winter dark. These lords had two purposes: to find Londea, the daughter of the queen, and to locate the elves of Fontanook. Though they hunted for many centuries, they failed in both tasks, many suffering death, many suffering a fate far worse. Londea had passed upon the Blue River, and the Fontanook had never returned to the world, but remained in a limbo before the gates, ever desirous to bring the battle to the enemy. Of all the quest knights, only one returned, and he brought reports of evil and mayhem, and of a world under the iron will of Unklar's rule. In despair, Melius the Wise, the greatest of the elven magi, barred the gates to the Seven Rivers. From that moment, none of his people were able to willingly travel to Aihrde, and none could return who went beyond the Seven Rivers. However, Melius did not wish to be wholly sundered from the world, so he took up a route of Airtaut, and where it breached the world, he fashioned a portal after the manner of the Rings of Brass. He set this portal in a ring, the Orifex Mutatio. Within it stood a gate from the Seven Rivers to Aihrde, and, unknown to Melius, to Fontanook as well. The Magi placed the Orifex Mutatio on a stone, and set many knights and a magical effect to guard it. Around them, Melius built the Castle of Spires, bound to the ring, so that the castle stood in many planes at once. If this sounds familiar, we read a story not too long ago following a character called Meltaug, who is actually the half-brother of Daladon Lothian, who is the second of the Tulmif. And in that story, Meltaug traverses Aihrde in the era of the Winter Dark in order to seek the Castle of Spires so that he can reach the Fontanook elves and bring them into Aihrde, open the door for them and let them in through the Castle of Spires so that they can fight Unclar. And it's a great story, and I want to read it again. And maybe we'll do that after we finish the Codex again. But anyway. It was in those days that Malazor found the dwarf, Dolgan, son of Hern, in the Grundlik Mountains. Oh, Malazor. I didn't even realize I read the word Malazor and I didn't even realize. So yeah, Malazor is the guy who summoned Unglar to Aihrde. Very evil. It was in those days that Malazor found the dwarf, Dolgan, son of Hern, in the Grundlik Mountains. He was but a boy, unused to the world, and not yet come into his own, and could not long resist the archmage who soon ensorcelled him and bound him to his service. Dolgan was the last of the line of Angrod, king of old, from the kings of Grundlik Hol, and possessed a great gift for forging and crafting. The young dwarf's hands bore the skills of the lords of Gorthurog, and through him those crafts were born anew. He worked for Malazor, making items of the wizard's design. It was he that made the spikes that held Jaren the Wise above the gates of Aufstrag, and for that Jaren never forgave the dwarf. In time, Unclar learned of Dolgan and his skill, and bid the mage give him over. And so, Dolgan passed into the service of the Horned God. Wars uncountable were fought between and with the Captain Kings, and ever and anon did Unclar spend himself to end these conflicts, and ever did he leave vestiges of his power in hidden places. In the later days, Aristobulus took himself to the city of Seven, where Narhite, the god of chaos, lay bound, the only place of chaos left upon Aihrde. There he found the mystic enclave whose magi he directed to unearth the ancient books of Jaren, locating Luther and the mighty sword Durandale upon the Dreaming, and learning the final fate of Daladon. For it was his intent to end the darkness, not for love of Aihrde, or any pain of suffering in the world, but for vengeance and the lust that comes with triumph. Aristobulus's power waxed great, and he too was accounted one of the Val Tulmif. Unclar came to Dolgan at this time, and bid him fashion a crown for the Lord of Aihrde, for it wounded his pride that the Cune Mundus Usquam was lost to him. This is a legendary crown. Dolgan, after 300 years of servitude to the forge, had become a master of his craft, able to bend any ore, shape and mount jewels or stones, craft items of war or pleasure, and all the various nuances of the smith. His knowledge included the natural skills of his people, as learned from the Allfather in distant times, but too, it included the skills of Unclar, for often had the Horned God aided Dolgan at the forge. And there, in dark solitude, Dolgan bent iron and sorrow and shaped the greatest of his creations, a crown, to meet the Dark One's lust for beauty. He crafted the shape with rune magic held in the deeps themselves and released by the might of the Dark God. He named it the Crummervul, the Crown of Sorrow. So perfect was this creation that Dolgan sought to keep it for himself, but Unclar took up the crown and laughed. The dwarf cursed him and called him thief, for the crown filled his mind with the lust of greed. Upon his own brow, Unclar sat the wondrous crown, and in his hand the Utriel mace, the hand of judgment, which Unglar himself had created. Thus did Unglar rule the world. In time, Dolgen came before Unglar, and the horned god knew him for what he was. He tried to force the dwarf into bowing to him to swear his fealty, but the son of Hyrn would not yield, for he had at last come into his own, and though he remembered little of the world of his youth, he was of the greatest bloodline of the dwarves of old. His blood came from the language of creation and more. He was a dwarf of the line who had faced the red god, and no power in Aihrde ever surpassed the bull when in his youth, the bull being Orndul. This act of defiance earned him a name amongst many in the pits of Aufstrag. They called him Dolgen Furchtlos, which is the undaunted. Unglar named him differently, calling him Dolgen Ungekront, the uncrowned. Unglar bound him to Klarglitch then, and bid him do as he deemed fit, so long as he fashioned weapons of war for the dark gods and served Unglar when the horned god had need of him. In time, Unglar found the peace of his mind disturbed by restless dreams, dreams of war and vengeance, of deeds great and terrible, and of death. These thoughts troubled him so much that he roused himself, coming to deep Klarglitch, the forge and pit of woe, in a rage. He bore with him a horrible intent and desire. His cloven hooves ground the stone of the forge to dust as he crept into the hall where Dolgen, son of Hyrn, son of kings, labored at tasks unnamed. So great was the power of Unglar that Dolgen's servants died in screaming madness or fled in terror, lost to the deep places under mighty Aufstrag, for his visage they could not bear. Unglar's skin burned hotter by far than any flames of any forge, and in his eyes, terrible in evil, turned to Dolgen. His voice, deep with echoes of madness and memories rank and foul, thundered forth. "Make your bellows, Dolgen, and do as I bid." The dwarf and the Dark Lord labored long and hard in that fell place. Klarglitch doubly earned its name of woe, for the horrors born of that making haunted the world ever after. With sorceries uttered by no man or beast, dark-hearted magics, with rune spells crafted in a time before time, Unglar forged the great beasts of the pit, the Mogrul. He made them from his own twisted soul, and from the filth of death caught in the twisted shadows of Aufstrag's many-layered halls, and he gifted them with life. As the Allfather once made the sun and moon in the days before days, and Orndul made the Huadun, so the horned god wove the language of creation into the Mogrul, singing it through them as Dolgen pounded their flesh to life. After many days, the dwarf staggered from the effort of the labor. The language bore upon him, weighing him down with power no mortal could contain. Dolgen hovered on the brink of madness, screaming in pain, then laughing hysterically, then at last weeping for the terror of it all. Unglar bore him aloft, keeping him from destroying himself, for the horned god needed the might of the son of Hyrn's hammer to forge and shape the life he created. Unglar, too, hovered upon the brink of madness. Though he had breathed of himself into the hounds of darkness, Utriel, the Ungern, and many diverse creatures, Never had he given so much of himself in one endeavor. In his lucid moments, Dolgen could see the suffering of the horned god, and he relished it and pitied his, for they were, in that moment, brothers of the forge, both born of the All-Father, both slaves of the forge, both burdened with the terror of creation. The beast's face was torn with the effort, and his pain-filled cries shook the caverns of Klarglitch. Unklar bellowed and growled, all the while corded muscles strained at the task. Despite this, Unklar brought forth a dark never seen before, or would ever be seen again. His agony was their life, and they were pure in malice, with no thoughts but evil and madness and destruction. With this creation, Dolgen, son of Herne, gave of himself into the making, and was accounted of the Valtolmith ever after. It is said that Unklar himself spilled into life from the Allfather's dreams. Not since the Allfather spun those dreams in the darkness of the void have such creatures come to be. The Mogrel were terrible to behold, and Dolgen knew fear as he had when he had wrestled with the black god himself. The coming of the creatures was a weighty thing in the world, and Unklar named them Mogrel, and they were beasts of horror. The Mogrel rose in a rage, one after the other, filled with the fire of their dark god. They climbed, crawled, or flew from Klarglitch, and spilled out and into the greater towers of Aufstrag until they found egress and came to the world as waves of fire and ash. In the last, Unklar wandered from the hall, filled with a lust for war such that he had not felt since he first crossed through the iron portal. He rose high and laughed, shaking the Krummervol in his mighty grasp, so that it split the high roofs and walls of Mythgeful, and, turning, he said, "Dolgen, make ready for war. The time of doom is at hand." Interesting that now the time of doom is at hand. Now the time of doom is at hand. The time of doom, the time of doom was not like the coming of the Winter Dark. It wasn't the creation of the Mogrel. It wasn't all that shit. It like now. I feel like Unklar is a little bit late to his own party here. I think that's a good place to stop for now. And I think maybe we can like hang out for a little bit and then jet. So that's Aihrde. Usually what we do, Steve is not here tonight. But usually we have like a little Q&A about Aihrde, like after these readings. And Steve is our CEO and the writer of Aihrde, the creator of Aihrde. And so we love to, talk about the world and all this stuff. He's not here, but we would love to still talk about Aihrde. So if you guys have any like questions about Aihrde, I'll do my best to answer. I'm no Stephen Chenault, but I'll try to step in as much as I can. That's good. Thank you, Orange. I really appreciate it. I love reading these stories. And I love Aihrde. A god is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. How do the gods work? Oh man, good question. So at the top of like the family tree here, you have the Allfather, and then you have the Allfather's only equal in the entire world, and that is a dragon called Inza. And where the Allfather is this like all-powerful deity who created the world and the universe and all this stuff using the language of creation, Inza possesses the powers of destruction. And it's kind of fun because so we have Steve Chenault and his brother Davis Chenault, and Steve wrote Aihrde, which is kind of like a lawful sort of place. The Allfather is all about like creating order and like ordering things and rules and stuff. Davis wrote the world of Inzea, ruled over by Inza, the dragon, and the way that he described it was like she doesn't destroy stuff. She creates nothing out of stuff that is not nothing. So I don't know if that like clears it up. Is it belief is what makes them exist or work, or is it they exist as long as their portfolio exists? Yeah. So more the second. They also have a limited like well of power to draw from. So you'll see a lot of like gods resting and saving up their power. That's exactly what Corthane is doing, because Corthane, the god of judgment. What person are you on Discord? I am Crane Wrights on Discord. But blah, blah, blah. What was I saying? Oh my god. They have a well of power. Corthane is hanging out in the Tower of Judgment. I forget what his like realm is called. It's like this plane of wind. Corthane has foreseen the Gonfod and the end of the world, the end of days. And he knows that Orndul, his brother, is going to fight to keep the end of days from happening, which is kind of interesting because Orndul is supposed to be like the evil one, but Orndul doesn't want the world to end, and Corthane does. He wants like the natural passing of the world to come to pass and for everything to end as he believes the Allfather intended. And Orndul believes that the Allfather secretly at his heart doesn't want the world to end and wants to save it. So Orndul is going to try to stop the Gonfrod from passing. So Corthane is watching the Winter Dark and all of this stuff happen and not intervening. And a lot of other gods are also not intervening because they are saving their strength for when they're going to need to use it at the Gonfod at the end of days to fight Orndul, who in a lot of ways is more powerful than like all of them because of plot. I don't know if he's more powerful than Corthane. He's more powerful than a lot of the other Valarikun. Corthane is kind of his match. I can't DM you on Discord for some reason. I'll send you the link. Yeah. Feel free to DM me here on Twitch. I do have to like accept message requests. Believe it or not, I've gotten some like messages in the past that are so not cool, and so I've got like message requests on. But yeah, send me a request and I'll accept. But yeah, so that's kind of how the gods work. They have like a limited sort of well of power. At least that's how I understand it. Steve might be able to clarify that in a future stream. So it's like an Alduin kind of deal. Who is Alduin? Wait, I know that name, but where from? Alduin? Oh, from Skyrim. Duh. Okay. Alduin, Elder Scrolls Wiki. He's considered the wellspring of the Nordic pantheon. Yeah. As well as a harbinger of the apocalypse. Yeah. Exactly. The World Eater. Yeah. Another fun thing is like Aird's Gonfod is technically our Gonfod because little known like fun fact, or maybe this is widely known. It blew my mind when I learned it. Aihrde is Venus. It's just the planet Venus. Very, very cool. Do Aird's dragons have 4 legs and wings or 2 and wings? I think a lot of them are different. I think mostly they have 4 legs. But there are some that might... hang on. Let me, like, pull up a map of the world really quick. I'll pull up our World Anvil page here. Buoy. Okay. So, oh, which place is it? I want to say it's Surin, but maybe it's not Surin. Maybe it's no, it's Atuk, isn't it? So there's like a region of dragon riders in Aihrde, and maybe the dragons in the dragon riding like region might be different, because I think I remember it being like across from the Banning Sea, so I think it's Atuk, but I could be misremembering that. I'd kind of just threw a whole lot of nothing at you. I'm sorry. I've got guesses. I've got educated guesses. Or is it like Pathfinder D&D where you have dragons, drakes, wyverns, and lindworm? Yeah, I think that's more of it. Man, I don't have our new like dragon art on this computer. I've got it on my laptop. But we've got so much cool like dragon art, and a lot of it's new. I've been like posting some of it on our socials, but I've got to like get more of it online. And also just look at it closer so I can know if they have 4 legs or 2. And the Dragon Riders thing reminds me of something that I saw on Zach Speaks Giants channel on YouTube. Ooh. What thing? Do share. Dragon art, yes please. Dude, maybe I can like... Can I just pull up like TLG's Facebook and like pull it up here? No parents, no rules. Hang on. I don't want to like waste a bunch of time looking for this, but I know that I posted it sort of recently. Oh, look at that. We're live on Facebook. Scrolling. Dragons. Okay. So, 4 legs. I see 4 legs. 2 visible legs. 4 legs question mark? 4 legs. God, that's so pretty. So pretty, man. I don't remember who did these. I don't know if it was Wes Gardner. It kind of looks like Wes Gardner's art. I don't remember if it who it is, but God, they just knocked it out of the park. Oh, thank you, Orange. I super appreciate it. This is the thing. Oh, damn. If you tried to like share a link, Warlock, it auto-modded it out and replaced it with asterisks. I'm so sorry. The leafy Draco boy. They're just buddies. Like, here's the thing. Dragons are so friend-shaped. I feel like they would just be like big dogs. They're just buddies. I feel like they just want to like hang out and like play. And maybe like rend your flesh or something. But like, you know. So, you're just a good boy. I would die so fast in Aihrde. Man, oh man. Gang, fellas, thank you for hanging out. This has been such a fun stream. I really love doing these. Last week was so fun. Last week we did our like chat plays Castles and Crusades. And I definitely 150% want to do that again very soon. Maybe like February sometime. And maybe I'll even like plan it more and not run it the same day that I think of it, and actually spend some time like, you know, planning more stuff for it. Makes sense. The game I'm running has a dragon turned human girl that's following the party. That rocks. I love like the trope of dragons in human or humanoid form. I think it's super cool. And rend your flesh. You're not describing dogs. That is a cat. Yeah. You know what? That's fair. That's fair. Because, like, cats will just, like, they'll be playing with you, and then decide that they're done, and how dare you keep playing with me when I don't want to play anymore, and just wound you mortally. Dragons want your tribute and your loot. Here's the thing. If I could be, like a story dragon, if I could hoard stories, and in fact, take out the middleman. What's if? I'm gonna be a dragon that hoards stories. Because why not? I sent you the link about the cyclical popularity of the grimdark, noble-bright fantasy based on the state of the world. Dude, I'm excited to read that. Thank you for sharing. Added you on the TLG Discord. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Loot or loot? It is an important distinction. Yeah, just a lot of, like, the dragon talons would make it tough to work a loot with a U. But hey, it is about that time. So I think we're gonna toss a raid. Usually we'll go to like 10 p.m. when Steve's here, but I'm getting a little sleepy, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it early. And I feel like today's stream was like a lot of doom and gloom in the story, so we'll see how it shakes out next time. Maybe a small D&D streamer, perhaps. If you got a suggestion, let me know and I'll check them out. I think that is a bronze dragon that wants books and stories. Dude. Yeah. I want to be a bronze dragon. Okay, just a smaller D&D streamer in general. Yeah. Well, let's see. I know the Swole Initiative is gearing up for their stream, but they're not small. Who do I have here that's doing D&D? PCM, who are you? Let's find someone with like face cams on. Chat amongst yourselves while I find somebody really quick. Maybe these folks. Oh, this looks cool. I'm stuck watching an ad, but we're gonna rate them. So I give this spiel every time. I will keep it brief. I just like going into small studios to give support. Dude, Brain Cell. Same thing. We don't have like a set raid message. The thing that I always say, if you guys all have like the bandwidth and the energy and the time to do it, as we raid into this person's channel, it would mean so much if you would stick around for a minute and like say something nice about their stream. It's a cool looking stream. There's going to be a lot of nice things to say. But trolls coming. yeah, we can say trolls coming. That's pretty cool. But yeah, if you have a second to spare, I know like just being a streamer, it's so nerve-wracking to like do a Twitch stream, and it means the absolute world. First of all, when like a channel raids in at all, but especially when like their viewers kind of hang out for a second and chat a little bit before like piecing out for the night. And if they like say something nice about what you're doing, then it just like, it's literally like the best day ever. So let's give these people the best day ever and be super sweet, if we've got the time to do so. And I guess in the meantime, we will be back here tomorrow with Blood and Briar, which is the Castles and Crusades actual play that I run. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern, same time as this stream started, just tomorrow. Steve also has his AMA at 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern tomorrow, earlier in the evening. So if you want to stop by and say hello to him, he'd love it. He's a font of knowledge, so anything CNC or Aihrde that you can ask, he'll have an answer, and it'll be a good answer. And I think that's it. I think that's everything. On Wednesday, I stream on Hearth Coven Games. Check us out. But for now, go in peace, make the words, do good. Thank you all so much.